You're listening to the Paranormal Patio Podcast.
I don't know what it is about these videos that I put in here. They just lag. I'm not sure what in the world. Like the first time, it was perfect. And then every time since then, it has not worked in my favor. But hey, Kiki's here tonight to talk about Halloween traditions, which was basically what that last video was. And the season 3 of Paranormal Patio starts on whatever date that said. 2 weeks from yesterday. So, or 2 weeks from next Friday, I suppose. We'll have Hair Raising Horror Week and then a week off, and then season 3 starts. And we'll be full bore with season 3. So, you know, that is what it is. Yeah, Matthew, the computers just can't handle the videos. I don't know. Man, it's so frustrating because I put in so much work into these videos. Like, I don't know, maybe I need to upload them to YouTube and just share my screen or something. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe that's the solution. I'll have to look around. Yeah, so welcome to Hair Raising Horror Week. Kicking it off tonight. Kiki's here. She's down here in my chat window. I can see her down there. I think she's ready to go. She's dancing and waving and nodding her head. So I guess that means yes, or maybe she is telling me, hey, no, get out of here. I'm not doing it. No, she is. She's good. So we'll bring her in and we'll get started with this. After Kiki finishes up, we're just going to hang out. And Kiki's welcome to hang out with us if she wants. She doesn't have to. We'll take a little break, and Matthew's got some questions about our book. And yeah, we'll just kind of have a opening party for Hair Raising Horror Week. And I just noticed that the title of this video says Hair Raising Halloween 2. I'm very tired. I've been very busy, but you know, it is what it is. Kiki, hello. Welcome to the stream.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great.
Here I am.
Yeah, there you are.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm so sorry I couldn't see you last weekend.
I know. Nashville was awesome. You would have loved it. We had a great time.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I still got to see a lot of the presenters. I just watched, from home safely while I was on the mend. But I'm so glad you got to go and spend time with some really wonderful teachers and presenters. And yeah,
it was great. The live capacity crowd was like 8 or 10 at any given time. So it was mostly just all the presenters hanging out. No, but it was the best because in between presentations, like we would all go hide in the alley and talk. Man, the conversations that were had were tremendous.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I enjoyed that as much as I did the presentations. Like, all right, great show. All right, break. All right, great break. Back to the show.
Oh, wow.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Just so many brilliant minds in one place. I'm so sad I missed those conversations, but I'm so happy that you were able to participate, and it will happen next year. So I'm really
I'm already ready to go.
And hopefully there are other events that happen between now and then too that we can all hang out at and spend time at. I know I'll be up in Nashville between now and March. I'm looking at the end of March possibly.
Very specific. Sometime between now and March. I don't know. Yeah. I think the next traveling event that I plan to attend is the Pennyroyal Season 2 launch party down in Somerset. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds so awesome.
Yeah. It'll be a good time.
Having a launch event.
Oh, I'm sure it's okay with Nathan if you just come on up. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know when it is. It's in January sometime, but I don't know when for sure.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That sounds like so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like driving 5.5 hours in January weather. It's probably going to be terrible. Yeah. But, if it's bad, I'll stay home or turn around.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it will be okay.
Yeah. So anyway, you're here. Everybody's here. We're having a good time. I have been looking forward to this presentation since I didn't get your Conspiranormal presentation.
I know. And I have to reach out to Adam and Serfiel because I told them that I'd be happy to, do like an encore presentation and just share it maybe with the Patreon or, in the group. I was so nervous about that one. I don't know why. I was just so anxious. Yeah. There are certain presentations that, you do or you talk about and, some feel more natural than others. And I feel like mine went through a huge revision because I was in Egypt right before the event. So yeah, and so tonight I feel like it's just like I'm with friends. It's just, we're having a good time. Yeah. I'm so excited about, season 3 for you. And it's just an itty bitty presentation, but I have, obviously I have a long talk track because I'm a Gemini.
Yeah, you you are really notorious for just going and going and going and going. But that's why we love you, because you always have all this awesome information that we don't know about. So
well, cut me off when I've talked too long, but I have some good ideas for some weird, fun, traditional divination that we could talk about, and maybe some more modernized versions that people might want to try out for the Halloween season. So it will go along really well with the celebrations of the season, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. I didn't notice until a little earlier today about the Apple thing. Like I read it when you posted it, whenever, and then I totally forgot about it. So
Oh,
I
it's
don't
okay.
have my Apple.
That's okay. You know, I mean, just take notes, and also to like, I could actually share my Apple Notes with people. So if they're not watching live or they don't happen to have an Apple in front of them, they could, you know, try it out. If they feel like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I do Apple divination every single Halloween. So I'm really excited to share that with y'all.
I have to tell you, it takes some big balls to come on my programming and promote something Apple.
Why?
It's a personal decision. I don't participate in Apple, the company. Like the fruit is fine. But.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'll let you off the hook this time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah,
and
it's not an Apple.
No, it isn't. This and I was really excited because I found Macintosh apples from New York. So it kind of brings me back to, you know, the Yankee autumn. I'm really happy to have them. So it's not an Apple product. It's
right.
A Yankee apple.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You're off the hook. Don't let it happen again. And next time we'll do a pair divination or something.
Yes, we'll find another one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to give you the floor here and sit back and relax. And if I want to jump in, I'll jump in.
Yeah, please do. And I think I could share my screen. Oh, this is really easy. And I hope, because I'm just like, so can you see the screen?
Right there.
There it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you mind if I keep this little thing on the side up? It's
No.
just a little bit easier. I don't know. Like, I know that people usually do like a slideshow, but for me, it's just easier to have like all the tabs on the side. So yes, obviously we're going to talk about Halloween divination tonight. I have like tiny slides, so we're not going to be like flipping through. Obviously you could see on the end there's like 6 or 7. So what I wanted to start with tonight was to kind of just talk about a little bit of a background of what Samhain is. It is spelled Samhain. Some people pronounce it Samhain. I've always pronounced it Samhain. Just I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of Samhain, and how it sort of potentially metamorphosed into Halloween. And then I want to get into the real chunk of the night, talking about divination that has been traditionally celebrated and performed during the Halloween season. So a lot of it comes from Irish, but I would also say Scottish and Welsh as well. They kind of like hung on to these really interesting folkloric divination games. And just heads up, a lot of them, probably most of them, deal with love and romance. And it's just really interesting that, you know, at Halloween, they practiced all of these like different divination games that were said to like, you know, help them predict their lovey-dovey romantic future, which who doesn't love love? So I think it will be a lot of fun tonight to talk about how weird they are. And the other thing I want to say too is they tend to be a little bit outdated. So just keep that in mind, that these are, you know, antiquated traditions. And as people living in 2021, we, you know, just need to consider that. But if we feel we want to, we can make modifications to any divination practice to suit your preferences, if you choose to. So this is just kind of a little list of some of the divination I want to talk about tonight. Believe it or not, there's a ton of divination with food, which, you know, who doesn't love food? So love and food on Halloween, hell yes, this is a good setup. And then I wanted to talk a little bit more about some other divination forms that people like to use at Halloween, that are said to be, you know, kind of like a Halloween tradition. There are strange old folkloric traditions about mirror divination, which I think is really cool. And then, you know, that leads into scrying and, you know, doing the gazing into a reflective surface. I also want to talk about dumb suppers. And if I have time, I kind of wanted to try and come up with like an interesting tarot exercise that we could do, but I just don't know if I have time. I might just come up with something. A lot of people have like different Samhain and Halloween themed spreads, and I could share those as well. But tarot is definitely something that's said to be really popular at this time of year. So, Matt, I missed your comment. I'm so sorry, but I'll go back and I'll read all of it. Oh, thanks. Want to I know if I want to fascinate the cheese one. Oh my God, how funny was that comment from a book? So Matthew is referring to there's like this image from like a witchcraft book, and one of the suggestions is if you wanted to like fascinate a woman, you could give her cheese. I was like, yeah. I don't really eat cheese right now, but look at that. Here, let me just take that out for you. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Samhain and Halloween. So, Samhain is actually tied all the way back to Celtic traditions. The name Saminos, or I'm going to spell it for you, Saminos. It actually appears in a calendar from Gaul that dates all the way back to the 1st century. So this was a harvest holiday. It was a harvest festival. It was considered to be kind of like the final harvest of the year. It was celebrated, we know it was celebrated at a place called the Hill of Tara in County Meath in Ireland. I'm going to share a really cool quote with you about this sort of ancient Celtic holiday from a book, this very simple book, The Dictionary of Celtic Myth and Legend by Miranda Green. And her quote is, "So the Feast of Samhain was a curious time when gods visited men, supernatural beings changed shape, and the year died and was reborn. It was both a somber and joyous occasion, just as New Year's Eve is today, but most of all, it was a time of great numinosity, full of spirits and supernatural energy, when the worlds of life and death were inextricably," I'm going to say that wrong, inextricably intertwined. I hope I said that right for y'all. So basically, this Celtic Samhain was just this time that was believed there was this passage between the light side of the year when everything was growing and you were able to grow food, and it was this passage into the dark side of the year. Obviously, we all see this happening. The leaves are falling. For some of us, not for people in the South, but maybe New Englanders or people in colder locations are seeing, this shift in the weather, and it's a time when stuff isn't growing and we go inwards. So this Samhain, it's very interesting. It was this harvest festival. It was this harvest holiday. It's like you grabbed up all the crops you could. You brought all the animals in from the fields where they would be grazing during the summer, and you would bring them in closer to the farm. But there was also this very like supernatural element to Samhain, where it was believed that whatever space between our world and the other world, whatever space, people call it the veil. You'll often hear people say like this veil between our world and the other world. It was believed that at Samhain, this veil or this space was very, very thin, to the point that we would be able to encounter the otherworldly beings. And for the ancient Celtics, it wasn't necessarily just ghosts, but it was spirits. Fae were involved in this, and so at Samhain, it's believed that this veil was thin, and you could interact with these spirits and these fae, and that's for better or for worse. It's not necessarily this sort of like romanticized Tinkerbell encounter. In many cases, it was best to avoid encountering the fae. They were very mischievous, and it was believed that any crops or any berries left out during after Samhain was left as something for the fae. So yeah, that is what I have on Samhain. So what's really interesting is that when Christianity started to spread, it started to transform Samhain, and this holiday called All Saints Day came up in 600 600-ish CE. And All Saints Day was this holiday that was meant to honor saints who didn't have their own special day. And it was then moved in like the 1730s to November 1st. So it would then be kind of mirroring the date of Samhain. But unfortunately, All Saints Day and honoring saints really didn't click with the masses. It was almost as if the symbolism of the dead and this sort of like connection into the other world, it was just so powerful and so important that All Saints Day didn't catch on. So in the 800s, All Souls Day was added to the Christian calendar and was celebrated on November 2nd. And this holiday was to pray for the souls of those who were stuck in purgatory and needed assistance moving on to heaven. So All Saints Day was referred to as All Hallows Day, and the night before All Hallows Day was called All Hallows Eve. So really, what I love about Halloween is that we really can just tie it back to these very, very ancient practices and these very, very ancient traditions. Let me just check quickly. I want to make sure, are there any questions so far? Because I have been
I don't think so. I think you're good. I'm
Okay,
keeping an eye
good,
on the
good.
chat.
Thank you. And I'm looking at notes, so I'm not looking at the screen.
It's okay. We'll catch your attention one way or another.
Yes, please do. Just like be like, Kiki, stop talking. So that's just like a little brief history on Halloween. What's really fascinating is that these traditions and these superstitions associated with kind of like the other world sort of persist, and they transform into these really fun divination traditions that come to us from Ireland and Wales and Scotland. And these sort of divination games actually go into America and follow into America when immigrants go to America as well. So I think that's really, really interesting. This is like a super, super abridged version. I know nobody really wants a history lesson, but I think it's really fascinating to think about how Halloween and what we're celebrating is just this really, really ancient celebration of, the passage of seasons and, this passage from the, life to death, and not necessarily in like a gloomy way, but almost just in honoring the cycle of life. And so you'll see a lot of people, even today, modern day pagans and witches have, obviously reclaimed the name Samhain. And, so a lot of witches look at it as a New Year holiday. They look at it as a holiday where we connect with our ancestors, we honor our ancestors, and a lot of psychic work is done. And just magic to celebrate what I like to refer to as the introvertive time of the year. So yeah, who doesn't love Halloween? So let's talk about some divination. So it is insane. Like I actually, in just kind of like going back to some of the notes I have about different divination games, I found some really funny, weird ones. So I'll share them with you as we go through the food. But there's tons of like food divination that's associated and done on Halloween. So one of them is called Colcannon. I don't know if anybody's ever had Colcannon. It's freaking delicious. It's like this super, super unhealthy comfort food that is commonly prepared at Halloween. It comes from Ireland. And if anybody is interested, I actually made a vegan version of Colcannon. So if you would like a vegan recipe, just send me a message on Facebook and I'll share that recipe with you if you wish to try it. So Colcannon, and that's this image right here on the left. Colcannon, it's made with potatoes, parsnip, leeks, cabbage, onions, kale. It basically depends on the recipe that you find. But it's basically all of these like sort of like really starchy root vegetables. and it's really tasty. So the divination with Colcannon would be that they would put all of these little strange trinkets into the Colcannon itself and serve the Colcannon. And if you got one of the trinkets, it would be a fortune. It would represent like a fortune that you would get in the following year. So, like I said, they're a little, antiquated, but if you got a ring, so like these are the different trinkets that are commonly associated with Colcannon: rings, coins, thimbles, and these little like porcelain china dolls. I don't know, it feels like a choking hazard. I've never put trinkets in my Colcannon, but I've seen people put them in like little, like little safety bags so you don't, swallow a ring. But if you got the ring, it would mean that you were going to get married. If you got the coin, it would represent wealth. Getting a thimble would represent, bachelorhood or spinsterhood. The china doll would represent having a baby. Oh, and then sometimes people would put like a bean in, and that would represent poverty. So really, your chances for a good year were, depending on what you're interested in, are limited. But it's a delicious dish. So no matter what your fortune was, you at least have comfort food to make you feel better. So another food divination done at Halloween is with kale. And one place that people refer to for kale divination is a poem that Robert Burns wrote in 1785 about Halloween. There are tons of like different divination games referred to in that poem, and one of them was kale divination. So the tradition would be with kale. They would blindfold somebody and walk them backwards to their garden, and instruct them to pull a kale stalk. This kale stalk would then be looked at and interpreted to determine what a future romantic partner would look like. So, for example, if like a young woman went out backwards with a blindfold on and pulled its a kale stalk, they would look at the shape. And so if it was strong and healthy, it would mean that her future husband would be strong and healthy. If there was a lot of dirt on it, it would actually be a positive sign that, they would actually be really wealthy. But if it was like small and wilted, it's not so much the best fortune. So I don't know if anybody has kale lingering in their garden this time of year, but if you ever try it, let me know how it goes. Nuts were also used in divination as well. Hazelnuts tended to be the preferred nut of the Halloween season. This is probably because they're in season during this time. And in Celtic mythology, hazelnuts were also associated with wisdom and poetry and inspiration. So they were this like powerful magical food that would give you, sort of like wisdom and the ability to be inspired. So I think that's kind of some cool magic too. So in Wales, there was a divination where you would throw a hazelnut onto a fire. And if the flames of the fire would dance, when the nut was thrown in, it would indicate that your following year would be really exciting. And if the flames didn't change and they were just kind of meh, it would mean you were going to have an uneventful year ahead. One that I really love is it deals, and this is kind of a fun one too. Like if y'all, I don't know if you have bonfires this time of year, but that's, a pretty common Samhain tradition, especially for modern pagans and magical your witchy practitioners. You could take 2 hazelnuts and they represent a couple. So like, let's say like you're in a relationship, or 2 people that are just starting to get in a relationship, and you just want to see how their following year is going to be. So you take the 2 hazelnuts and you put them onto the fire, and start them really close to each other on the fire. And if they burn close together, it's a very fortunate year for the couple. But if the hazelnuts move apart or they burn unevenly, it's maybe not the best pairing. So
Real
kind
quick,
of
Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to interrupt you, but you
No, you're
mentioned
fine.
bonfires just a second ago. I don't
Yes.
know where I just read this. It was just a couple of hours ago about the origination of the term bonfire, where that came from. And
I want to know.
it's really interesting. It's really interesting. So I don't remember the year or anything like that, unfortunately, but it was really interesting. It was uh, these people, whoever they were. This is a terrible story. They would save their cattle bones for the year, and at around this time they would have a bone fire. They would burn all of the cattle bones, but it
Oh my God.
kind of became bonfire. That's where we get the name from.
Ah, what do you burn cattle bones for? Is it like a good
Um,
luck thing or for
I'm sure I read that. I just don't remember what it was. I was
That's
fascinated with the bone
okay.
and bond thing. I was like, well, how did I never put that together? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm
that's
not sure. I'm gonna
interesting.
find it. I will find it, and I will
Yeah, I
post
wonder
it.
if it's like they scatter the ashes onto the fields and it's, good for the fields,
It could
or if
be.
it's like,
It could be.
who knows? Wow, that's really interesting. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Oh well, good. So if anybody has any questions along the way too. Oh, Sarah says it's usually when our fire bans are lifted. Oh, it's like s'more season. Like, I'm obsessed with s'mores. I know that has nothing to do with our talk tonight, but I just always have to. I always have to bring up s'mores in October. So vitally important. Yeah, I'm so
Yes.
glad, Sarah, that you're able to have fires this time of year because it's really, really beautiful feeling. So, food divination. So let's continue just a little bit more with food divination. And if anybody has an apple, this is the time to work with it. Apples, apples, apples. Apples are like such a huge part of divination at Halloween. You're probably all familiar with bobbing for apples. If I recall correctly, there's actually an image of people bobbing for apples in like an old medieval book. There's some people that say bobbing for apples is something that goes all the way back to Celtic times and that Romans practiced it, but I can't give you a good citation for that. Um, Bobbing for apples was said to be another love game, so it was something where people would go and they would like dunk their head in a bucket of apples with water, and the first person that was able to bite into an apple and grab an apple would have true love, and they would like have success, or some people would say they would be the first people to get married in the next year. When people and there's also this other account that says that people that would get apples from the bobbing of apples, they would take the apple and place it under their pillows and hopefully have dreams of new love. So I like that the bobbing for apples, like if you were able to grab an apple, you could take it home, and like I don't know how you sleep with an apple under your pillow, but I mean, hey, if you're like dying to know who you're going to marry or be in love with, I guess you'll go for it. Um, but I love also too the apples tend to be associated with the other world as well. So there are all different types of divination that are done with apples. There are divinations that deal with eating apples. There's ones that deal with like looking at the peel, and then there's also ones that deal with the seeds. And so I can share this information too because obviously this is if y'all don't have an apple with you and you don't feel like chopping up an apple while you're watching this, maybe you want to do it later, but I really do this every year and it's so much fun. It's cheesy and fun and cute, and but it is really kind of a playful thing. And hey, if you're having a Halloween party, like make everybody do this. It's really silly and fun. So I'm going to share with you the apple peel one. So the uh, the divination that's commonly associated with apple peels is what you're supposed to do is pare your apple very, very slowly and very, very carefully. And this is so you try and keep the peel in one long piece, or try and make it as long as possible. Once you pare that peel, you're supposed to take the peel and specifically throw it over your left shoulder. When you are done doing that, what you do is you go examine the shape of the peel that it makes on the ground and try and see if it looks like a letter. And that letter is said to be the initial of a person traditionally we're supposed to marry, or maybe, you know, more modern way to say it is somebody you're romantically involved with. And I do this every year. I don't know why. So I don't know if anybody has apples or not, but I'm going to do it right now and see who I'm going to be romantically involved with in the coming year. Who knows? So there are all different ways of doing this too. And if anybody loves like Charmed as much as I did, Charmed actually had a Halloween episode where they did this form of divination, and Phoebe had to throw her apple peel into a cauldron. And I really liked that. So I guess another way to do this apple peel divination is to throw the apple peel in a big cauldron or a big pot of water, and you could see if it takes the shape of a certain letter. So here it goes. Let's see who I'm going to be involved with. I don't. It kind of. I kind of looks like, well, this is good because my partner's name is Ben, and it kind of looks like a bee. So I think it's good news for him. But it's up to interpretation. So anyways, I don't know if anybody else tried this while watching, but if you did, it's a lot of fun. Once you're done checking your peel over your left shoulder, you can also cut the apple open and look at how many seeds are in the apple. There are different divinations depending on how many seeds are in the apple that are supposed to tell you what your new year is going to be like. And so I have one on the screen, but I'm also going to share one with you because I found like a fortune telling rhyme. And one thing I'll mention too is you may have noticed all of these like fun vintage pictures. Here's this nice lady with her little black cat, and she's, you know, got her apple peel that she's about to throw over her shoulder. But there are these really, they're so freaking cool. If you can get your hands on any, there are these old like greeting cards and vintage, like they're Victorian and Edwardian era greeting cards and postcards that all have like weird like divination ideas on them. Like there are some that just show like witches and owls and stuff, but there are some that show actual divination happening. And there's one on the next screen as well, or the next slide. But I just think they're really cool. So here she is with her. It's kind of funny. My black cat is sitting next to me, and I just did this. So yeah. So what, you know, if you're the type of person to go and try and look for Victorian and Edwardian, you know, Halloween postcards, you will be able to find some that actually will give you instructions as to how to do these old, you know, folkloric divinations. So you could cut your apple open if you want and count how many seeds there are. There's I guess interpretations on the screen. And then I wanted to share another rhyme with you because I just found this before I did the presentation. So 1 seed is a journey, 2 seeds a wealth, 3 seeds true love, 4 seeds health, 5 seeds a quarrel, 6 seeds fame, 7 seeds betrothal, 8 a new name, 9 seeds travel, 10 seeds a ring, 11 seeds of fortune to you I will bring. So there's so many of these out there. I just love all of these like rhyming divination opportunities. They feel very magical, like you're almost doing an incantation. So I'll share this in the comments section of this when we're done, in case you want to collect these and you want to count how many seeds you have and find out if you're going to have fame or true love in the next year. Any questions so far? Anything?
I
We just
think
have a couple
think
more.
you're okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah, just people enjoying themselves.
I hope so. They're just like, it's just such weird, fun, interesting divination. Mirror divination, and here's another one of those weird greeting cards that shows this lady who's trying to see her future romantic partner in a mirror. There are so many different like mirror divinations out there, and one of them actually does involve an apple where I'm going to try and remember the correct number of apple slices, but there's this like divination tradition where a woman is supposed to sit in front of a mirror with a candle and an apple on Halloween night. And she's meant to, at midnight, cut this apple into 10 pieces and eat 9 of the 10 pieces. And when the clock strikes midnight, she's meant to pierce the 10th final piece, hold it over her left shoulder, and look in the mirror. And there's this belief that in the mirror, she will see her future partner, husband, come and try and get that final apple slice. I think that's a really interesting one. There are lots of variations of mirror divination. Some involve a woman like brushing her hair, or saying something in the mirror. So I always liked that because it made me think of scrying, which brings us to basically my final slide. There are all these old traditions, and I don't see a problem with modifying them and making them into something that feels, a little bit more modernized. But there are also different divination techniques that, people use today that, are still old, but maybe feel, I don't know, maybe a little bit more accessible, or maybe a little bit more inclusive than, just bobbing for an apple to see if you're going to get married or not, especially if you're married or not interested in getting married. So I really like that there's all these like strange food divinations and sort of reflection divinations and communing with the dead divinations that we could carry into modern or more modernized practices. And one of those is scrying. So I don't know if anybody here has tried scrying before. I think that this image here is of a scrying mirror. There are different ways to scry, but scrying basically is the art of gazing into a reflective surface. So what you're meant to do with scrying is look into a surface, and basically you're meant to see, or you're meant to try and seek out different images. I guess that like a really good example of scrying is like imagining like that really stereotypical image of a woman looking into a crystal ball. John Dee actually used this too. So I mean, it's a very, very common practice, and people tend to do it in like black obsidian mirrors or black crystal balls. But other ways that you could do it too is like in a bowl of water that's like very inky black, or I tend to do it like when I go to the beach, and I do it under a full moon, and you could, use the surface of the water with the reflection of the moon to look. And so if you're interested in scrying, you're going to want to get that reflective surface, whether it's, you get something very traditional like that blackened mirror or crystal ball, or if you're just going to go settle in, by a body of water, and you're just going to look into the water, with the moonlight shining down. But if you're interested in doing something with like a scrying mirror, there are different ways that people set it up, but you're meant to do it in a darkened room. So I guess you could do it during the day, but in the evening, especially for like the ambience of Halloween, maybe Halloween night, you're going to, set up a scrying mirror or a crystal ball. And people, what they'll tend to do is take like 1 or 2 candles. It's really up to the practitioner. And they're going to sort of like position the candles so the light fills the scrying surface, but not in a way where you're looking at a reflection. So in other words, you're going to want to like look at sort of like a glowing surface, but you're not going to want to look at your own face or the flame of the candle. So sometimes people will put the candles to the sides, or they'll put one behind. It's just worth taking a moment to just, work with it to see what feels best to you. And then basically all scrying is, like, the easiest way to put it is it feels like you're staring into space. You soften your gaze. It's almost like you're looking beyond the surface. And you just wait to see if you see any images. Some people do believe that they see actual proper images in the screen, almost like a TV screen. Some people will say that they see like a fog kind of fill the surface, and this fog will take different colors, and depending on what color you see, represents the divination message that you're getting. And for other people, it's just a time to zone out and have some meditation, or receive any other psychic messages in different ways that
Yeah,
maybe you
real
receive
quick,
them.
I have
Yeah.
something interesting about this.
Yeah.
It's
Ooh.
not really scrying, but it kind of is. So I'm a big fan of Phantoms and Monsters blog, which is Lon Strickler. He's been around for a really long time. But he has worked with a gentleman in Florida, I think. And once again, this is a half story because I don't know his name. But he had been having these weird interactions in his house for a while. And he thought that maybe his house was haunted or whatever. And he would try to take pictures of things that he was seeing, and he couldn't get anything to show up. But one day he noticed there was something in a reflection, and he took a picture of the reflection. It was like a silver dish or something. And like, he has all of these like photos and videos, and you can see things like in the background, like behind whatever he's holding up. And like, he's categorized all these different beings that show up in his house. And he thinks there's like several races of like interdimensional travelers that are popping into his house that he caught using
in a mirror.
Basically scrying. Yeah, basically.
Holy shit.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
Oh my God. No, I think it's great. I think that it's so important to talk about that too, because, mirrors have always been enchanting and magical. And we think about magical Mary. I mean, like, we even think about like Bloody Mary. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, there's or people who set up, two mirrors, against each other, and they kind of have that weird eternal reflection. And some people say that's, like a portal. It's opening a portal. It's a way to access that other dimension.
Yeah.
So mirrors are always a powerful way to receive information. If people scrying is really, really rewarding. If it's something that you're willing to sit with and do, it could just be part of your meditative practice. It could be part of your, spiritual reflections. And you may also receive messages or, hey, contact other dimensional beings.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to find, right? Yeah.
That is crazy.
Another fun mirror fact is, for anybody, I think everybody here knows about Pennyroyal, with Nathan Isaac and Darian West and Kyle Cadell, friends of the show, friends in person. I love all those guys. They're doing great work down there. But in the first season of Pennyroyal, it kind of opens up with them out into the wilderness. And Nathan mentions that they have put an FM transmitter inside of this pyramid, and they're taking it to the entrance of this old abandoned mine that is a common thread throughout the episodes. And the pyramid, and Matthew has seen this too, the pyramid is made of mirrors, and it's now back in the studio. They didn't leave it out there. I don't know how long they left out there. It was out there for some time. And it was like a way to broadcast the strangeness of the area. So the mirrors, I guess, would draw in whatever the energy would be, and it would have the FM transmitter to transmit out into the world, into the hills of Kentucky, Somerset, Kentucky.
Isn't it really amazing crazy how we could tie sort of like paranormal experiences to these, divination traditions, to these divination practices. I really think that's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
A pyramid of mirrors. Jeez.
Yeah. Those guys, they hold nothing back. So if they have like one little idea, they'll tweak it and tweak it and tweak it until it's like, why did you even think of this? And where can I get one? They're all super smart with tech and everything. And I'm really looking forward to finding out some more of what they have planned. Season 2 comes out in January. Of course, I feel like I know a pretty good chunk of it, but the things I don't know will be really interesting. And of course, they'll be on the show to talk about it, I'm sure, before it drops or right as it drops. But
for sure.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you again.
No, you're totally fine. This is fine. And I saw that Matthew has a mirror pyramid on his altar. Like, do you build it, or can you like go purchase a ready-made mirror pyramid? I want to know. I need to know.
Matthew did an altar at that mirror that they used in Kentucky.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, cool.
So like, who knows what kind of energy he was working with that night, but
Whew.
definitely, I think Matthew will probably agree. He was definitely affected by it for a little while.
Yeah. Well, it's really fascinating. We have a big wooden pyramid in our house, and it's like one where it's like you set it up and it almost feels like a tent, and you sit under it, and you're meant to like meditate, and the shape is meant to influence you, almost kind of like sacred geometry, or going to a pyramid, a temple.
Speaking of which, you
Yeah.
just spent some time over in Egypt, and I wish I'd fit into a luggage bag because I would have liked to have went along. That the pictures are amazing. I bet you had such a great time over there.
I did. Thank you. Yeah, it was powerful. People close to me know that this year has been a pretty transformative year for me, personal transformation, and I feel like a lot of people say that you do this sort of like initiation when you go through the temples, and it's hard work. It's a hard trip. It's not, it's not just going snorkeling in the Keys. It's a few days during that trip, I was like, I wish I was snorkeling in the Keys. But you're climbing through like little tunnels and going into chambers, and the chambers, some of the chambers were set up in such a way where like if you sang or you chanted in it, it would just like reverberate in a way where you instantly felt elevated. You felt, high in a way. It was fascinating, and you could tell all of the temples and all of the places were tuned in a different way, so you almost had a different spiritual experience or encounter or lesson depending on where you were or what you approached the temple asking for assistance on. So it was pretty awesome, and I'll definitely go back, but I'm going to give it a little time. I need to go on a snorkeling trip next. So yeah, it was great. It was really special. But thank you. Yeah, the pyramids especially, like, were really powerful going into the pyramids, and it's tough. It's hard work. So you have to be prepared to kind of like crawl and and then climb and then crawl and then climb, and you're like in this little confined space. So I got over claustrophobia and fear of heights really quickly.
I bet you have no choice. It's like, well, I'm here. Do I just turn around and go back, or do I face this and deal with it? Right?
Yeah, right. You're not gonna wait. You're not gonna wait outside and play Pokemon Go while everybody is like inside channeling, Horus.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta do it. So
Crowley would be very upset.
I know. I thought about Crowley because I was in the Great Pyramid, and we did go into the King's Chamber, and there's a big sarcophagus like box that you actually can lay in. And so, yeah, and I did that. It was interesting. I mean, I had a lot of experiences prior to getting to the Great Pyramid. So by then I was like, okay, this is great. This is awesome. Yeah. So it was a really beautiful encounter. So if anybody is thinking of going there, it's hard work, but you should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. One day.
Anyway,
I mean, it's on my ultimate bucket list, but realistically, who knows?
It is. It's a lot of work, but if you can do it, it's a reach. Yeah. But there's tons of pyramids here. In Central America, you could go to any of the Mayan pyramids, or even go to Teotihuacan outside of Mexico City and have the same experience. And then there are also people who also speculate that maybe there are even some pyramids in North America as well.
Yeah.
So
it's fascinating.
Or were. And I mean, there's also the mound builders and the mound cultures.
Yes.
And those places like Cahokia.
Yeah.
I have Okmulgee near me, but then there's also the Etowah mounds that are near me, or even, Serpent Mound. And then I know that there's a ton in Kentucky as well.
Oh, yeah.
And those are just as powerful as well.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's just a different energy. So you just approach each place with an open heart and, see if you receive any messages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
anyway, speaking of receiving messages, we totally went off track here. I'll let you
That's
go
okay.
ahead and finish back up.
Yeah. We're like 2 minutes away from being done. I just wanted to share
Perfect.
the idea of the dumb supper. Let me pull up my notes again. The dumb supper. So the dumb supper is it's called the dumb supper, but it's also known as the silent supper. And the word dumb is used to refer to the fact that the dumb supper is actually done in complete silence. Um, while a dumb supper can be hosted at any time of the year, for some reason, it's just really a wonderful opportunity to connect with ancestors. So it's done during the season of Samhain. And so the reason a dumb supper is done in complete quiet is that it's meant to be an opportunity for people who are attending the dumb supper to also invite the dearly departed to attend. So, what people do to celebrate the dumb supper is they create a meal, a feast that may be something that was a favorite of somebody who passed away. And they have a table set up, and everybody who's invited has a place to sit, but there's also an extra seat at the table, and that seat is meant to be for that person who passed away that you wish to have join at the feast as well. um let me look quickly. I'm sorry, I'm reading notes in the middle of this, but I've got like so many interesting things. There are accounts of the dumb supper having appeared in the British Isles in America. Dumb supper games may have been connected to Appalachian and Ozark regions, especially in rural locations during Victorian times. Um, during those Victorian times when everything was all associated with love divination, the dumb supper was actually associated with love games as well. And so this rural American tradition asked for two unmarried ladies to clean, sweep, cook, and set the table in silence. At the end of the meal, it was believed that a vision of a person would appear, and that would be a romantic partner. So obviously today, the way that we celebrate it to contact the dearly departed has obviously evolved a little bit since those Appalachian and Ozark traditions, but I still think that's really interesting. So I don't know if anybody's ever tried a dumb supper, but it's really interesting. Like I said, it you know you're meant to set up an extra place where the dearly departed is able to sit down and join the meal. If anybody would like very, very specific instructions on how to set up a dumb supper, please let me know and I could share that with you. I've written about it. And you'll also hear people too, like I've actually heard people say that the dumb supper is done in complete silence. Nobody says anything. And the reason you don't say anything is that you're trying to observe or see if you get any indicators that that person that you're honoring has actually showed up. So people will say, like they hear something or they hear the person talk or sing or laughter, or there's the water set up at their table setting is showing drops or shaking in it. But I've also heard people say too that during the dumb supper they will actually take a few minutes to actually talk, and what they do is they exchange loving memories about that person that passed away. So it's also an opportunity to show reverence and honor the mighty dead. Um, so that's really what I have. I also obviously have a slide for tarot. Um, you know, people, it's a really, really popular time to get tarot readings, and it's a popular time to give tarot readings. So if you are inclined to work with tarot, or you've never tried and you want to start, think of this time of year as a great time to step into it and give it a go, or get a tarot reading, because that veil is supposedly thin between our world and the other world, and we're able to contact and commune with our ancestors more directly at this time of year. It feels like a really strong time to get a tarot reading. And for people who are practicing tarot readers, there are different tarot spreads that are themed to be associated with this time of year, or you might want to give yourself a love reading this time of year too, in honor of old traditions as well. So that's what I got for you.
Good job.
Some divination traditions for Halloween and a little background on, where it all started. It's an oldie but a goldie.
Yeah, I learned some things. I hadn't heard of most of what you said actually. So
Oh, good. I know that some of them. Oh, sorry.
The idea of a dumb supper, I couldn't, because the sound of people chewing, even myself, gets under my skin so bad. I would, by the next dumb supper, you'd be waiting for my ghost to appear, because I would, no chance.
That is too funny. Oh my God. Yeah, I know. I don't think I'd want to listen to people chewing their food or like gulping.
Oh no. I don't even want to talk about it. It's terrible. It's terrible.
That's funny.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay. Not the practice for you.
No, not for me. I'm okay with like talking during it, but I couldn't do the silence. No way.
Yeah.
No chance.
It's kind of interesting too. I always thought that it would be like a really fun, like paranormal TV show where people go to like haunted restaurants and they have a dumb supper at every single restaurant. And so it's a way to like highlight the food, but then they can also do a paranormal investigation and, set up whatever recorder or, whatever equipment that they're using. So that's my $1 million idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like diners, dine-ins and drives divination.
Yeah. With Guy Fieri going and doing a dumb supper at a
that sounds awful, actually.
At a Waffle House.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. No. That's almost as bad as listening to everybody eat around you, I think.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, God, that's funny.
Yeah, that's terrible. There were a few things I pulled up earlier while you were talking, but I'll bring them up again. That Matthew is attending a dumb supper next Sunday for the first time, and he's pretty excited about that.
Please let me know how it goes. Oh my God, that is so cool. I hope that you have an experience and that it's a good one. Yeah, that's so cool.
I'm trying really hard not to laugh out loud right now, and I think this will probably break you too. We talk about the Guy Fieri ghost hunting, Phantoms in Flavortown.
Oh my God.
You win. There's no one's beating that. That's top notch. Good job. More serious note. AJ said that they did a dumb supper for his mother the year she passed. That's great.
Oh, AJ, I hope that you were able to have some sort of connection. Even if for people that don't necessarily like need to have like sort of like an encounter, it's just a really beautiful way to celebrate somebody who had passed. I just think it's a really beautiful symbol to just see this seat for that person. Yeah, it's really cool. Oh, cool.
Yeah. A lot of people, I think, are not unlike me, where people that are in our crowd, right? We believe that there's more afterlife, and it's a struggle to balance the grief and the sadness with the relief, especially if someone has like lingering health issues for the end of their life and they're sick for a long time. So it's hard to not be sad about sitting in an empty chair. Like, it's so sombering to think about sitting in an empty place at the table. But at the same time, like, you can look towards, it's not a going away, it's a see you later, right? So it's setting it up for the see you now, come on over, it's nice.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I wonder too and this is getting deep too, but I wonder, and I'm going to get psychological for a minute, but I wonder too if there is some sort of process of healing grief in performing a dumb supper as well.
AJ says she was there with them, so
Oh, that's so cool.
That's great.
Oh my God, great. Doesn't that feel good too that they're still with you and that they're present?
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yep, that's awesome. Well, that was pretty good. I have something to try. Before I let you go, I want to see if I can play this stupid video that I made for the intro. I'm going to do it on a shared tab and see if it
Okay.
works. Let's see if it
Okay.
works.
Well, I don't know how to tell you, my friend. Know that we never look the same, but inside there's a whole lot of different.
Of course, it works just fine in the middle, and it works
It
just
was-
fine doing it that way. But
It was so cool.
I'm gonna have to do them all
That was-
that way now. Like upload everything to YouTube and just share the screens, because I get so frustrated when I put these videos on here and like the counter like hangs for like 10 seconds and then we speed through time and we go like 5 minutes to the future. It's so frustrating.
Oh.
Oh well, it works.
It was
so now
great.
I know.
It worked. Now you know, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what do you have coming up? I know that there's like a huge schedule.
Yeah. I think everything is set up to be automated from here on out, other than adding posts and links to the website. 5 p.m. every day, starting tomorrow at Central Time, 5 p.m. Central Time. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. New episodes. Boom. They'll already be there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and Patreon has already had them for the entire week, and I think they're pretty good. I think everybody's enjoyed them so far. I haven't heard any complaints anyway. Definitely had one of my favorite interviews that I've got to do, which was with Stan Gordon, who has been on my interview bucket list for a really long time. And it turns out like some people don't even know who he is, and I'm just like huge fanboy. So that's a great one.
I don't know who he is.
He is a researcher. He's been a researcher for 60 years, like maybe 62 years or something. Like he has a hotline basically where if you have something in Pennsylvania, you call him and like he gets people there or does whatever, takes all of the information, and he's got a team of people that he works with. He was one of the early investigators of the Kecksburg UFO case that was back in whatever year it was. That's how I found out about him, was because Small Town Monsters did Invasion of Chestnut Ridge, a documentary, which was really awesome, one of my favorites. And he was featured in it a lot. And I started digging into his stuff, and it's great. That's a great interview. Tomorrow night at 5 is an abridged audio version of the live stream that we did for Hurricane Ida relief with Lonnie Scott, Alan Greenfield, and the Pennyroyal guys. It's really short because that was 2.5 hours of organized chaos, and it was nuts. So it's a shortened version. It's around an hour. Monday is Josh Van Hook, who I met through the Pennyroyal guys and the Pennyroyal podcast, talking about a goblin encounter that he had in Shopville, Kentucky, which is near Somerset.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be very intriguing.
Yeah, it's a good time. He's a colorful character. I like Josh a lot. We were supposed to meet up whenever I went down to Somerset back in the spring, and we didn't get to. He had stuff come up, and I had stuff come up, and the schedule didn't work out. But definitely the next time I'm down there after January, because I'm not going to go caving with anyone in January in Kentucky. He tells a story about a cave that he found with his friends, and he was going to take me there, and he hasn't been there since the last time he had a crazy encounter, I think in like 2016 or something like that.
Do you hope to have something happen when you're
Oh yeah, always yeah, I live for it. I mean, I have things happen on occasion, but I'm not totally bombarded with it all the time. If it was something where I felt like I needed to turn it off, I wouldn't be interested in having more happen, obviously. But since it's kind of like a little like weekend vacation type of visit, you know what I mean? It comes, it goes, and then I live my life. Yeah, always want things to happen whenever I go to these places, for sure. And I've had some, and it's great. So yeah, Tuesday, Stan Gordon, Wednesday is Joshua Cutchin talking about Thieves in the Night, which is the scariest concept I have ever heard in my entire life. The whole Fae replacing your children with changelings in their
Ooh, yes.
cribs and their toddler beds.
Yeah.
As a parent, that deeply affects me. Like I can't explain it. It has to be like a parenting thing that it bothers me so much, but it is like probably the scariest thing that I have like covered in the show. To me, it just instills so much fear in me. I can't help it.
Yeah. There are a lot of stories about that, aren't there? Big furry claws coming in and just grabbing a baby.
It's creepy. Thursday is Tobias Wayland, singular Fordian.
Yeah.
I was going to rock one of his shirts tonight, but I opted for the black on black on black, to
very nice.
be spooky.
Yeah.
And Friday is, yeah, you got it too. Friday is Geraldine Stith, the Sutton family, the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter. Her father was one of the people there at the house. And then next Saturday, 1 week from today, Patreon exclusive live stream where we're going to hang out. Kind of just a wrap party. I'm going to have the spirit box going with my little noise canceling setup thing that I made a video on. So, maybe we'll do a little spirit boxing divination stuff while we're hanging out.
That's so cool.
Yeah, just to wrap it up and chill with everybody and, spend some time with everybody who's, made this possible. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. So if you're watching this live stream and you're not on Patreon, and if you're watching this live stream and it's not live anymore, head on over. There's plenty of time. If you sign up today, you can still get all the episodes early. It's not going away. They're already there. They're there for you. And all the live streams are there. So you can watch all of them. I had 2 psychics here earlier this month, which was awesome. Yeah,
Did you get
right
a
here in my
psychic
studio. Not as such, but I was visited while we were here. So it was kind of an unofficial reading, but Scotty Rorick was the one who noticed that someone was looking through my studio door over there, and he's like, "Oh, come on in." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Wow.
Like, I thought maybe like one of my kids was like, like peeping in,
Right.
So I didn't say anything about it. I just let it go because I wasn't going to ask anything. If something came up that they wanted to tell me, I was going to let them tell me. So eventually I got the better of me, and I said, "So you were looking out my window over there and motioned somebody in, like, you want to share with us who you were communicating with?" And he's like, "It is your great grandmother from your mother's side." And she said that she only got to spend a little bit of time with you, And I was like, well, yeah, that's true. And I guess she said she comes around because she likes my kids. So like, I almost like teared up, it's like one of those things.
So
yeah. Right.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm still kind of, it's one of the things I'm on the fence about, with people who claim to be psychic, but they seem genuine. Which you would if you weren't, I suppose, right? That's the goal of the terrible people. But I don't think that they prey on people and do that sort of thing. They're really nice people. And I've been talking with Becky Castillo. She was the other one that was here. I've been talking with her for a while about Reiki. She did a Reiki session while she was here on me. And Matthew said that my posture changed like midway through or something. Is that right, Matthew? So yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, lots of live streams that you can go back and watch. Of course,
that's so cool.
This one will be there too.
Reiki is good too. Yeah. Well, good. Hi, everybody.
Yes, it's totally for everyone. This is the freebie, just to give you a little preview of what you can get every month if you just come on over and hang with the rest of us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've had you on here for a while. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about or close up with or whatever?
I'm going into my, it's very interesting with Samhain and the passage into the darker half of the year. I also just go very introverted. I tend to get a lot of work done. So I'm actually writing my second book next month, and it will be out next June. So I'm writing a book on tarot.
Of course you are.
It's time. Have you been working with your dad?
I haven't been doing anything other than show stuff and traveling, and I'm busy. You know,
Yeah.
I spent 3.5 days in Nashville. I've been interviewing people, editing. If you don't have a podcast, you don't know what it's like to dread the editing, because I've said it before, like I'm never satisfied with what I have. So I will listen to every episode, sometimes 4 or 5 times, usually three is the minimum. You know, I listen to it initially, then I edit it, listen to it again, and then I will listen to it after I publish it. And if I don't like it, I'll take it down and edit it again. It's not uncommon for that to happen.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, that's a
you
lot
know,
of work.
an hour to an hour and a half, you know, for each finished episode. And you know, I'm spending 5 hours, you know, with each one. So, and I just did 6 like for this coming week. So, you know, that's a lot of time. You plus working full time and, you know, and being a parent and everything that comes along with that. We just had a homecoming parade yesterday. My son plays the saxophone, so he was marching in the band.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was a trombone player.
Cool.
He didn't want to follow in my footsteps because it's too big and it's too heavy, he says. So, but
Fair
you know,
enough.
yeah, editing's awful.
Well, you know, all I have to say is thank you so much. Thank you for everything. And, you know, I'm just so happy for your show and so grateful for the folks that are watching. And yeah, thank you. This has been so fun, and happy Halloween. Right?
Yes, you too.
Have
Happy Halloween. Yeah.
you.
Thanks for coming on and, you know, always supporting the show. You're, you know, one of those friends of the show, you know, you're always on the end. And whenever I just brought it up, you're like, oh, I could do a live stream about Halloween traditions. It would be great. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know, so, yeah, always a pleasure, Kiki. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a good treat, a good trick or treat to talk.
A good trick or treat. Yes.
Right?
Always fun.
Always fun. Phantoms in Flavortown. Don't forget it.
That's so good. That's so good. Phantoms in Flavortown. All right. Yeah, I guess I'll let you go. We'll take a little break and I'll come back here and I'll hang out with everybody. I guess if you still want to hang out, you can, but don't feel obligated. It's not a big deal.
I will
I don't know how long
the
the break
for
is.
A little bit. Yeah, I'll chat for a little bit, and I'll be on for as long as I can handle. It's past my bedtime, so.
Oh, I understand.
I'll go for as long as I can.
All right. Well, if I don't get to talk to you again, yeah, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, well, take care, and I know we'll talk soon.
Oh, sure, absolutely. All right.
Thanks.
Bye,
everybody.
So Kiki will be hanging out in the chat, guys. I'm just gonna take a little break here and get a little bit more comfortable, and yeah, if you have anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about when we come back. I definitely have. What would an episode of anything with Paranormal Patio be without talking about Hollow Earth, right? So Matthew is wanting to know something about this book. So yeah, we'll get into that. I'll be right back. We'll probably get the lights up and all that good stuff. So hang out and we'll see you here in just a little bit. Hey, I'm back. How is everybody? Hopefully everybody is good. Oh, it froze here. There we are. We're back. Yeah, I had to get that jacket off, relax a little bit. You know, as stylish as I looked, I'm not comfortable like this. This is not me, but I like the black on black, you know, and I hope everybody else enjoyed that. It's a special treat to see me all dressed up. Usually it's for funerals and weddings, and that's it. But wow, I'm gonna go through the comments real quick. We got a lot to talk about. Kiki is awesome as always. Always love having Kiki be a part of the show. And Adam Tala also, I didn't mention my good friend Adam Tala. He's doing all the intros for Hair Raising Horror Week with me, so you'll get to hear some Adam Tala isms. We had a good time. Also in the intros, there are some life pro tips for you for this year to get you through Halloween. So looking through the comments, where did I leave off? Let's see. The psychics were very lovely. Yes, they were great people. Something that happened that night. This is rough for me to try to remember. After they left and I went to bed, I had one of my crazy dreams. And in the middle of one of these crazy dreams, Scotty Rorick was there, one of the psychics that was here, and he was trying to teach me something. I seemed to have a good understanding of what it was, but it's gone. Like, I don't remember what it was. I sent him a message and he didn't really elaborate. So it had to have just been in my subconscious or whatever. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. What else we got? Picking up Labyrinth Tarot deck tonight. Saging my tarot never works because I use sage incense. Is there a better way to cleanse the deck? Kiki is the person to talk to. Find her on social media. She's on everything. I think Twitter is Kiki D33. I think some variation of that. Oh, what else do we got? Bought some ghost pepper chips to prepare for our work fundraiser 1 chip challenge. Does that count as a Phantom in Flavortown? Yes, it does. Phantoms in Flavortown, the dumb supper edition of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. That's great. That's so funny, Matthew. Yeah, you still win. AJ's got a recipe for cherry dream squares. I'm not going to show that because it's going to take up the whole screen. Yeah. Oh, well, you can't even read all of it, but it's in the comments. You can find that. Loosen the tie? Nah, I'm good. I can breathe. I'm okay. We don't need to dress down that much. I put in a little effort into this outfit. Thank you very much, Connor. Oh, Kiki said it looked great. Oh, thank you. It's weird. I don't like it. Twitter, Kiki D333. I knew there was a variation of what I said. Adam is awesome. Adam is the bomb. Adam is great. He has big things coming up. I don't want to talk about it and ruin it. Sarah, you can always try keeping crystals around it. People sometimes keep purifying crystals with their deck. If that's something you'd like to try, I'd recommend selenite, but there are plenty to pick from. There you go. I knew she would be the best answer for this. Black on black. Oh, yeah, always. Matthew had a question for me. He sent me a message earlier about this book. He said, do you still have this? And sent me this picture of me holding this book. Matthew, I have it. It's right here. What would you like to know? I will tell you any of the deep, dark secrets from Valiant Thor's Guide to the Inner Earth, which turns out has nothing whatsoever to do with Valiant Thor, the alleged extraterrestrial working with the U.S. government back in the 60s. Matthew can clarify that as well. What it is very fascinating. It is a book of references to Hollow Earth. And it pulls from everything at the time and tells you exactly, like, hey, here's this story. And this is where it's from, And there's all kinds of stuff in here. The book I have, the copy I have, is from from 2020, but it originally came out. Name of publisher, author, any info into Frank Stranges. Okay. So this was printed originally, published by Saucerian Press in 1981, republished in 1985 by Health Research, which is weird. And then New Saucerian Press edition published in 2018, which is this version. It is largely it's done by Gray Barker, Silverbridge, Mothman Investigation, bane of John Keel's existence in 1966 and 1967. But Gray Barker doesn't really have much to do with this book outside of the introduction, right? So the introduction is just like a 3-page letter, and it's just from Gray. What the bulk of the book is a list compiled by a man named Bruce Walton, goes by Branton. Beware, he has evolved to be sort of one of the QAnon guys. I don't want to get into all of that stuff, but he also has kind of a seedy backstory. That being said, the book is still valuable for what it is, because it is a list that you'll never find anywhere else other than Branton's website now, which he's kind of evolved a website out of this book. Frank Stranges, boy. Luckily, they're in alphabetical order. The names. Let's see if I can find something. Frank Stranges. Oh, yep. Here we go. Dr. Frank E. Stranges. The Hollow-Earth Mystery, National Investigations Committee on UFOs, Vinoys, California, cassette tape. The Hollow-Earth Mystery, Your Paradise Inside This Planet. And Strange Tunnel in the Bridgeport Post, September 30th, 1972. Discovery of Ancient Tunnel near Milford, Connecticut, on Edgemont Road near Hubble Place. More than 200 feet long, made of stone-dry masonry with a brick arch. That's all it says about Frank Stranges, Matthew. Yeah, ironically, weirdly enough, it's next to one of the illustrations from J. Augustus Knapp from the Edidorba book, the next page. It is what it is. Yeah, that's that. Anything else about this, Matthew, before I put it down? Going once, going twice. I know there's a little bit of a delay. I'm just going to put it down because if you find something else that you want to know, let me know. More than happy to help you out. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, I didn't have time to put out like an official thing. I got invited to a haunted attraction in Louisville, Kentucky. I don't even remember when it was, a few weeks ago. So I thought I'd just share like the promo packet that they sent me. They got a couple of media passes here. Yeah. And they sent me this awesome envelope. It's all like splattered with black ink. It came in the mail like this, all ruffled up. And it's got like the, like the medical symbol there, like the hospital or clinic thing. The theme is it's a hospital, a German hospital. I don't know. It is what it is. But they sent me this letter from the Brackenhart Institute, September 17th, 1956. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it's interesting. It's basically like, hey, all these patients got out and we need your help. So come down and help us find them. They sent these little rubber bracelets. Says the cure is the disease, and the American Horrorplex on them. What else we got in here? My favorite thing that they sent me is just it's the most simple thing. just a little balloon with their logo on it. I haven't blown it up. I probably won't. Just gonna keep it. They sent me this really cool retro like postcard advertisement, which is fun. And a business card and a sticker. Yeah. So we had a good time. The bad thing about it for me was the drive, because it was, for me, it's about 3.5 hours. And we left here at like 5:30. Got there, did the thing, which if you live there would be fine, because you go out on the town for, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, and you go home. Then I also had to drive back 3.5 hours, in the middle of the night. And, I would go back if I were already there. They did a great job. The actors were great. They had good security. They did metal detector checks at the gate. Being a hospital setting, the performers all had masks on, right? Like if they didn't have a Halloween mask on, they had a nurse's or a doctor's mask, like covering them up. Yeah, they had vendors outside, which was really cool, selling all kinds of stuff. It wasn't too cheesy, really. Yeah, if you're in the area or you're close by, American Horrorplex in Louisville, Kentucky is a good time. I appreciate them sending me this. I got to skip the lines and all this stuff. It was fun. I would go back if I were there. I would not go back for a special trip for it. I feel like I could get a similar experience a lot closer. Not saying that in any way to discredit what they did. They did a great job, and I'm grateful for it. So that's that. Matthew, what did you say? It's interesting that Julia Stranges and New Caesarian have both kind of claimed Valiant floor after Frank's death due to Colvin's work with Barker. Let's talk about that. Matthew is going to be a guest on season 3 coming up. We'll be recording in November. Yeah, let's add that to your topics of discussion. I know you have a lot. You probably have an ongoing list. Surprised the post office didn't tag it as suspicious. Me too. When I first got it, I was like, what did they do to this thing? Then it made sense. I had even forgotten about it. And I didn't expect to receive a promo packet. But it's cool. It was a nice touch. Illinois does have a lot of pretty cool haunted houses. Maybe where you are. We have a couple here, I guess. I don't even go to them. There are a few in Indiana that are close by that I would go to normally. This year, I still don't take a whole lot of chances being out. Like, we went to Louisville. It was short, brief, mostly outdoors. Went to Nashville where the Conspiranormal Strange Realities Conference was. Everybody that was there had to either be vaccinated or have a negative test. So I felt fine being in that type of crowd. Plus the crowd was limited to a maximum of 40 people. And there was never anywhere near that. So yeah, I was fine with that. I did either drive-through food or DoorDash, Grubhub. So I didn't really go anywhere and be around anybody. Yeah, we're not out of the woods. Of course, I'm vaccinated, of course, but you never know. Things still happen. So yeah, I haven't really done much of anything, Halloween season-y type stuff. Also, we moved, and this is the first Halloween at the new house. And I am the only house in this entire village that has any Halloween decorations up. So I love that. So yeah, I guess if you know what town I live in, then you can probably find my house real easy. So don't spread that around. That's what I already read. We have a haunted ping pong and mini golf place opening up. That is awesome. They're staying open year round. That's cool. Yeah, I always thought that haunted attractions should be open year round, but I guess the amount of people that would come probably wouldn't be able to justify the cost. But if it's something like that with ping pong and mini golf and stuff, maybe like a little arcade or something. Yeah, that's a great idea. Outside Decatur, you usually have to travel a couple of hours either north or south. They don't promote well either. Yeah, it's hard to promote. A lot of these people just go by word of mouth. It's if they do a good job, people know about it. And in my experience, yeah. Well, that's haunted house stuff. When I was in Nashville, I did mask up and go to McKay's used bookstore. Actually, it was Kyle Cadell of the Pennyroyal Gang and the International Paranormal Museum and Research Center in Somerset. He told me he was planning on going, and he had a really bad day. We don't get into that, but I was like, yeah, I'll meet up with you there, and we can go book shopping. And so he didn't make it. I went anyway, and because it turns out I was only like 10 minutes from it, like in my hotel. So that was a pleasant surprise. So I got up and I went. And man, if you're in the Nashville area and you read, you need to go there. Plus, they also have like used vintage toys and video games and electronics and all kinds of stuff, which was great. It was a cool store. Records. Oh man, the records. I was looking for one record specifically. Patreon members will know, probably know. Yeah, Kiki says it's a great bookstore. It is. It's really good. Yeah, the whole upper level, because it's two levels. The upper floor is kind of like banistered hallway, like all the way around, like a horseshoe. All music. If you were wanting to start a record collection, that's a good place to go. More records than I could fit in, like probably a moving van. There's a bunch. Yeah, I picked up a lot of good books. I'm starting to fill out this bookshelf here. I think I posted them on Instagram. So if you want to see what I picked up. Also, one thing I do want to share with you guys. Alan Greenfield was at Strange Realities. And first off, he did the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram in Hebrew and told the story about it ahead of that, which was, like it's once in a lifetime thing. But so I picked up a copy of his book, the Complete Secret Cipher, and he was signing them. And I want to just show you guys how he signed my book. Make it out to Jason. Thank you, Alan. We laughed. It was funny. We had a little exchange on Twitter over it too. It was fun. Alan Greenfield, man, what a wild card. You never know. You never know. Galena, Illinois, and Richmond, Virginia have year-round places that are pretty good. Only 2 places I've been in the past 2 years. So yeah. The logistics of doing a year-round haunted house attraction, I think it would be the cost. You'd have to have volunteers every time. You can't count on volunteers. I don't know. McKay's and Mr. K's are all over Tennessee, North Carolina. They are amazing. Yeah, Kyle was having a conversation with someone about McKay's and how Nashville is his favorite one because it has the most music, which makes sense. It's Nashville, right? Planning going in the middle of nowhere in the Smokies, secretly terrified after reading Steve Stockton's book. Yeah, I usually never wear my iron to Phalanx. I will be wearing my iron in the Smokies. Yeah, probably a good choice. Bring lots of salt too. If you're sleeping in a tent, you might bring a gun just for the bears. You don't always worry about the paranormal stuff. You also have to keep in mind that we live in a world where there are very real physical threats and animals and people, especially in these really rural locations. On my way to Nashville, I made a stop, of course, in Smithland, Kentucky, because that's what I do. Like longtime listeners of the show, Smithland's kind of my jam. And as soon as I crossed over into Kentucky and took my exit over to the west, I saw a dead armadillo in the road. And I know they're coming up, from the south. This is the second one I've ever seen. The first one was near Branson several years ago. But I was like, that's nuts. It's kind of ominous, And so let me backtrack. Before I even got to Kentucky, I stopped at Shawnee Forest because of a recent discovery of a Knights of the Golden Circle connection to Shawnee Forest, and that kind of connects to my Smithland story. So I stopped to do some filming there, and as I got back in my car, pulled out onto the road, I saw this really fat, short, red, orange, and yellow snake that I had never seen before. I'm sure somebody knows what it is. So yeah, with coloring like that, it's probably dangerous, and keep that in mind when you go to these places, these rural places. It's not just the paranormal stuff that you need to worry about, right? Animals, snakes, bugs, people, especially people. I always get nervous because I do all this stuff alone. When I'm doing my Livingston County, Kentucky stuff, I go alone as a personal thing. Also, just general secrecy of the documentary, which I'm still working on. And I've been to some places where I have worried a little bit. Like if someone were to find me out here and had nefarious plans, no one's going to know because there's no cell phone reception. There's no help nearby, no way to get help. You could easily become a missing person. And I'm not saying that lightheartedly. You need to be safe, absolutely. But enjoy your time in the Smokies because it's beautiful down there. Sell boots here that are designed to resist snake bites. Yeah, I always wear thick leather boots when I'm out in the woods. You never know. The Knights of the Golden Circle connection. There's an old meeting place which is part of the trail system in Shawnee now. It's very interesting, and it's such a secret place. You guys will see the video. If you go back to the time of the Civil War, when the Knights of the Golden Circle was, becoming the force that it almost was, how you would even know this place existed is beyond me, because it would have been in the middle of a forest with no roads through it. And it's a beautiful little spot, really secluded. There's a rock wall around probably 80% of it. It's a circular shape. There's 2 entrances. So you could have a lookout on both entrances and know someone was coming before you were in danger, which they were so secretive. It's a great little place. Now, if you were to walk upon a meeting of the Knights of the Golden Circle, however, you probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. So I got a couple of rocks from there, smaller rocks. I gave one to Nathan from Penny Royal and one to Kyle. Kyle will be putting one in the museum, I think. I missed what I gave it to him for. Hopefully he does. It's interesting. There are some parallels to the Penny Royal story with the Knights of the Golden Circle as well in Somerset, which is fascinating. Go listen to their stuff. I talk about them all the time. Yeah. Anybody have anything else before I cut bait and get out of here? Anything in the comments? Let me know. I will happily talk about anything you want to talk about. Answer any questions that you might have. I don't want to just talk about snakes and rocks. The live stream for the Patreon folks on Saturday, next Saturday, will be at the same time, 8 p.m. Central. I plan on having a giveaway, at least for a t-shirt. So we'll do something in that live stream. I have something else that's interesting if you are into practicing, occult magic. And specifically, I would say if you consider yourself to be a practicing witch and you work with tangible physical things in your practice, I have something that you might find interesting and useful. And, if it's something that you want, I can send you some of it. Free of charge. As long as I don't have to pay $30 to ship it. Kiki's interested. Yeah, I'll send you a message, see if you're still interested after I tell you what it is. Any updates on the O'Hare Mothman? I haven't been able to follow anything the last 2 or 3 weeks since I talked to Tobias. I usually end up having one of those catch-up days where I go back and look through all of Lon Strickler's stuff and Singular 40 and stuff. We talk about it extensively in Thursday's episode, so stay tuned for that, and you can definitely get a grasp of what's going on in the Lake Michigan area. I also have a bonus content episode on Patreon with my conversation with Tobias that talks a couple of questions that I had asked Lon about. So if you want that, it's exclusive Patreon content. Also, the blooper reel. I'll probably end up making the blooper reel like public probably after Hair Raising Horror Week's over. I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. If we don't have anything else, though, I think it's been 2 hours. You guys have been hanging out. That's great. Thanks again to Kiki for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Adam Tallis says nobody knows their tarot like Kiki does. And that's true. He's a fan. He's a big fan. Yeah. All right. I don't see anything else popping up in the chat. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. October is apparently the month for live streams for me because we had, I think it was October 1st, we had the Psychic Gang on and this one, and then next Saturday. I would bank on probably later in November. I had planned on doing all the live streams early in the month, but I think I'm going to need a little bit of a break after this. So Patreon folks that get a monthly live stream, look for that later in November. Again, season 3 begins. I'm going to just pull up the calendar and tell you when it is. There's a week gap. So Hair Raising Horror Week ends on the 29th. The 5th is off. It's my week off. And then the 12th will be the beginning of season 3. If you're on Patreon, you already have the first episode. Soon you will have the second episode. Second episode will be on Black Friday. So not about Black Friday. It will be released on Black Friday. We'll go back to every other week there'll be a new episode for the foreseeable future for season 3. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. I got dressed up for you. Appreciate it, but don't get used to it. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. And check out all the stuff that's coming up. 5 p.m. Central Time every day this week, Sunday through Friday. New episode. So, all right. Rock and roll. We'll see you guys later.